Hi guys, Matt V's Movies back for another video, and today is a video about is 3D dead? So we're talking about the 3D Blu-ray format. You know, has it all come to an end? So we're going to talk about it today on the video. So welcome back. So yeah, 3D films or 3D Blu-ray, is it dead? Well, okay, so let's sort of look at the history of 3D. Now, apparently 3D films have actually been available, or started to be made back in as early as 1915 apparently, and throughout time there have been sort of attempts to bring 3D films to the mainstream, generally using the red and blue glasses, those anaglyph glasses, which I think they've sort of had a bit of a popular time in the sort of 50s and 60s, and then more recently sort of in the 80s there were a few films done in the format, but then it really kind of came when the Avatar film was released. James Cameron developed the technology for the actual films to be filmed in a different sort of 3D, and Avatar came onto the scene, and everyone was blown away by 3D, and that kind of started a 3D sort of format to be created on 3D Blu-ray, which is what we've got here. Now I do have the first Avatar film on 3D. This is the most recent Avatar film, and pretty much James Cameron is the only one left, I would say, that is still producing 3D films using the new technology, and he's kind of advancing it all the time. We've got new sequels coming out for the Avatars. There's one coming out this year, Fire and Ash. I'm sure that will be available in 2026 on 3D Blu-ray. Marvel are still producing the 3D films. They're certainly still getting cinema releases in 3D. I know the latest Captain America, The Brave New World, that's in 3D, being shown at the cinema. And I do believe that you can probably would be able to pick that up from Japan. Japan seems to be the only territory now that is producing new 3D films, certainly the MCU films, but they're incredibly expensive to import. There is a bootleg market which obviously exists for taking these sort of Japanese discs and sort of burning them onto sort of on-demand discs, shall we say. So, you know, if you don't have an issue with bootlegs, I guess there is that option that you can go down. I do have a few of those myself, just merely for the fact that of the cost. You know, can't afford to buy these Japanese releases. So yeah, like I say, is the 3D format dead? Well, largely on the whole, I would say probably yes. There is a German company as well, Turbine, and they are actually producing some 3D titles in small numbers at the moment. They're going back in to older films and repurposing them in the 3D Blu-ray format. So there is that company. But like I say, Disney, like I say, pretty much, well, this was a 20th Century Studios release. I guess Sony's taken over the realms of this, so I still think we'll see a 3D version of the new Fire and Ash. But whether we get to see anything else in 3D is highly unlikely, certainly within the UK or the US. So yeah, I think sadly 3D has become very, very niche. There's still a lot of 3D titles out there on the second-hand market that you can purchase, and you know, I'm still continually doing that. Most recent 3D title I bought was a film called Bait, which is an Australian shark film, shark attack film, disaster kind of thing. And yeah, you can look round on the sort of various sites, Music Magpie, World of Books, eBay, CX, and you can find these releases quite reasonably priced. Some sort of hold their value better than others. Amazon still, you can still get 3D titles on there. Germany, very popular for 3D films. You can go on to Amazon Germany and Amazon Italy as well, and even France. But I think as time goes on, we'll probably see less and less of these 3D titles for sale, certainly from places like Amazon. But I still think we're going to see quite an abundance of cheap 3D titles on the second-hand market. So on the whole, like I say, 3D Blu-ray is kind of very, very niche now, to the point that there's only really one director that is still fully committed to the format, being James Cameron. But we're getting a few little conversions now and again. Marvel still seem to be doing the 3D films. So as long as Japan keeps on producing the 3D combo packs, I think they do it with a 4K. It's still, there's still that option available. But unfortunately, for us 3D collectors, we have to rely heavily on the second-hand market. So here's an example of a 3D film that doesn't actually have the 3D Blu-ray format, but it's the old anaglyph, and we're talking My Bloody Valentine 3D. Now it does come with two pairs of glasses, which are these ones that typically they would have been red and blue, but actually these ones are red and green, which, yeah, is quite unusual. But they're just like paper, sort of thin cardboard, and yeah, you can watch if sort of 3D sort of with these. The effect is probably not as good as the 3D Blu-ray, the active shutter or the passive that you would get in the 3D cinemas or on your projector or TV. But this was the sort of old school 3D which we had for many years. Back in the 80s there was Jaws 3 3D, which I do actually have. I actually have that on 3D Blu-ray. They actually converted it, but when it came back out in the sort of 80s, late 80s, you would have watched the film using this kind of 3D glasses. Is there a reason why 3D failed? I do think that probably a lot of people didn't necessarily like wearing glasses to go into the cinema. I know in the cinema you had what they called the passive type of glasses, which are very lightweight, so not that sort of heavy on the face. Obviously somebody like myself who has to wear prescription glasses, they do fit over the top. It can be a bit fiddly, but I don't mind for a couple of hours. It's not a big deal, but I know for a lot of people it's probably not really what they want to be sort of having to put on to go and watch a film. There was talk of developing technologies that would be glasses free, and for a while there it looked like that might be a sort of development, evolution of that, but unfortunately it's never really come to pass. There are various manufacturers that sort of had sort of ideas and sort of prototypes, but they never really worked to full effect. So I think that was one of the reasons why they kind of decided that 3D wasn't really worth sort of pursuing. Whether we'll get some advancement in technology in the future and 3D will sort of have a revival is unsure at this point. I know, as we said, James Cameron is still very much wanting to sort of push this format forward, but I think for the majority of people it's not really how they want to watch films anymore. People are just quite happy to watch the sort of the best picture quality, 4K, HDR, you know, whether that be in the cinema or at home. So, do you enjoy collecting 3D films? I'd be interested to hear down in the comments. You know, is this, how do you watch them on 3D? Have you got a projector like I have? I watch my 3D films on a projector with the active shutter glasses. So these ones here. Or do you have a TV that you watch them on? I know, again, there's still sort of 3D 3D TVs that you can get on the second-hand market. They don't make 3D TVs anymore, so it's very much limited to sort of the second-hand market. But yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts, how you watch these films, how many 3D titles do you have in your collection? Yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts. Please give the video a thumbs up. That really does help out the channel. Tells YouTube that you like these sorts of chats, and that encourages me to create more of these for you to enjoy. If you're new here, why not consider subscribing to the channel? Hit the subscribe button down below. Come and join the channel. I've got a 3D playlist for all you 3D enthusiasts out there. You know, and there's a wealth of other playlists on there as well. Action, sci-fi, a little bit of horror. Yeah, go and browse at your leisure. Right guys, well, that's the end of the video. Take care and see you next time. Bye now.